high. Let's subtitle what is happening. I'm giving a transmission of the void, first of all. And then we're gonna sprinkle up some codes, swirls of energy for you to receive that are beneficial for your journey. And also some understanding in the form of lingo. Okay, so doop. First of all, what is knitted here, what is woven here, what is a dancing vibration of energy, holographic reality here, that's animated through what we call an experience as time, is a play of energy constructed by a higher power. Now, this higher power is no different than also what is expressed here as the world, you and me, and everything else. But it constructs itself into a specific simulation. Within this simulation, most things that we know and most things that we are concerned and most things that we can evolve are limited to this reality construct. Now, it is possible to know constructs outside of this construct, and sometimes there are constructs outside of this construct, like, let's say, simulations that are different than this one, that can relate to this one, like your Pokemons or your other fantasy movies or books like Harry Potter. They exist, Shrek, everything. They exist in the multiverse of this universe, but then they're infinite universal constructs, and then even beyond that. So knowing these things or experiencing these things sometimes is relating to your journey in this reality, and because there's infinite things in and infinite multiverses, then most of them would not then be relevant. One thing that we aspire to in this reality is a quantum level of consciousness being taught in this reality as Nirvana, or the void, or the emptiness, or liberation. Okay. So, I'm not sure about the usage of words. They are placeholders that might be a container for a whole myriad of feelings and images, and we internalize the meaning of this placeholder that the word is. So I'll just call it the void. When I say I'm transmitting, I'm beginning this transmission. With the empty space. Silent vacuum, you can call it in physics, they call it vacuum. So that's before the quantum oscillators. before the energy is dancing itself into your atomic structure, and then further on the layers of the cake of this reality, you're becoming a crystallized, even animal. Okay, the crystallized light body, and then the animal body that is also superimposed to your holographic body. Excusez-moi, pardon my French. Okay, so integral to your evolution in this gameplay, or this age where we are in the server of this construct of reality and we're experiencing ourselves as avatars, is integration of the emptiness. And we talk a lot about sovereignty. Actually, I don't, but I should. Probably could, should, maybe. Confusion. Too much energy. So, Alpha and Omega, right? Everything comes out of this nothing. So, out of this nothing, something is expressed as vibration dancing inside of this vacuum, inside of this empty space. And then all of this vibration, if you want to hold them in harmony and if you want to be in your sovereignty, you have to find the baseline. And you have your individual reality bubble, which is also called soul. Sometimes it's called a spiritual body, which is like a spherical container of your individual space. And through iteration of souls, we have like soap bubbles up to infinite individual spaces, because when you also come to the point of consciousness in the emptiness, this space is relative. This space, this vacuum, is just a projection of the awareness. So the space is imagined, like everything is. Now, on a higher or more fundamental level of reality, everything is created because why not? Or I am. You can call it I am, as we say, I am. Or you can call it why not? Because it is as effortless for you as source to be infinite space and energy and consciousness constructs. Now, when you come to the space and energy creating a looming and then tantricizing themselves into a construct like a banana, there's work there. Even banana suffers because there's a lot of tiny little vibrational loomings that need to come into the grid. They need to come into the architecture for you to wear this garment or wear this skin. Or imagine your DNA like billions of vibrations and little thingies, like little codes that are then constructed in the blueprints, the DNA blueprint, and construct itself into this little architecture that becomes proteins and like creates cells and everything, moving the information. It's like a little, it's not a little, it's like a giant factory or a spaceship, like a mother spaceship, you know, one of these like giant, your body is. It looks kind of a little bit small compared to the world and the sky with infinite stars. You seem tiny, but space is relative because it's a construct. So time-space is a distance between points. Point can be anything that is a condensed information in space, so it can be a quanta or atom or like a pixel on the screen. So when you go into the perspective of one point, then some other point is very far away. When you're not constricted by experience of time in the time construct, when you're outside of time, right? Your lower chakra, your animal body, you are inside of a room. Your mind's eye can go anywhere, see everything everywhere all at once, but if you go and see everything everywhere all at once, you're either going to the emptiness or you're going to singular source. And you can either go there by your imagination or by dissolving the looming, the intricate looming of this reality. This is what happened to me through Kriya Yoga, that my physicality or all of my layers of the cake just dissolved all the way up there, and then everything that was left was this infinite light. And it was jolly, but there was nothing going on. Just like air. And so, to contrast the light, there is a knife of darkness that is like a brush stroke that is then cutting strokes into this light, creating bubbles of emptiness. And then into these bubbles of emptiness, which is this universe or other universes that are in the dark, like camera obscura, there is a tiny, tiny dot that then transmits light, and light creates waves and looms itself into this. Now, camera obscura, for those of you that are not familiar, is a very old school type of photo camera, which was a box. I'm trying to see if I have a box, but you all know what the box is. Literally a black box with a tiny little dot punctured on one side of the box. And what would happen with this old school camera, it's the same what you do now with your phone or camera. They have shutters. The shutter opens either tiny or like a bigger shutter. You open the shutter wider, and the light is transmitted. Now goes to the chip before it goes to the film. Back in the day, it was an emulsion like they use on a film for cameras. So there's a tiny hole, and guess what? Through the hole, light comes in, and on this side of the box that's in the dark, you see a flip side projection of reality outside of the box. So I go with the box, and there's a tiny hole, and there's a landscape there, and I get a projection of that landscape through the hole on the back side of the box. That's called camera obscura. Now, if you understand this principle, this is the same what this universal bubble of emptiness does, except it's a little bit more complex. How is it more complex? Well, first of all, the light that comes into the void is animated and at all times is influenced by the blueprints for animation and the consciousness itself. Which means when you are also immersed in this body, you are in the bubble of emptiness, and then your avatar and your reality is woven. Like, imagine this bubble, it's creating everything that you are, it's creating your experience. All the layers of it. There are many layers, energetic layers that come into this cake, in this looming of your makeup. So you know about your atoms and your bones and your blood and your muscle, your physical body, your emotional body, etc. The other subtle bodies. So yoga yoga is awareness of your whole makeup. And sovereignty is awareness of your whole bubble, where you have, and you needed to be born as a baby and learn to walk and cry for food and all this other stuff before you can go into a complete self-realization. And this self-realization is of the whole essence of the self, meaning that the consciousness is projecting a sphere of awareness, and inside of this sphere you are loomed from all these layers. So when you're conscious of all the layers, you needed to go layer by layer by layer to learn how to walk and talk and embody yourself. And things can be subconscious, like thoughts or desires, or physical processes. But when you're in the baseline reality, quantum, sphere, vacuum, void, your consciousness in which you have this bubble of reality where you loom your personal vehicle for experiencing the physical or whatever astral levels of reality, because they are all intertwined, right? Mental layers, emotional layers, physical layers. Now, who governs? Who is the master? Well, there's only one master, the consciousness. And the author. Okay? So I'm not talking self-mastery of your personal intellectual faculties. Or even like, I don't know, finances or like your muscles. Goes deeper than that. You need to master your eating and brushing your teeth when you're a kid, and then you need to master emotional responses, you need to master your energetic looming, then you need to master your mind, which is kind of complex because there's like higher self information from these subtle layers, and there's a subconscious. Then there's the programming that animates your body and gives you all this animation that the puppet moves and reacts to different things, right? So when these are subconscious, they are involuntary because they are working for you on an automated fashion, because you're walking and you're thinking about like falling in love in third grade or like high school or whatever. There's like occupying interpersonal relationship dynamic is occupying you, your awareness. So you're learning that, but then your stomach is digesting food. Maybe you're not thinking about, you're not aware of it. It's a subconscious process. How you react instinctually, emotionally, when you feel the urge, the need, or whatever, you're not in control of that. Slowly you progress through stages of maturity, you come into control, or more, and then you can see the mechanisms of your subconscious. And beyond the subconscious, Carl Jung said these are archetypes. What are these? The 12 spheres, or planets if you will, but they're also in the micro, they're spheres, kind of look like balls of light, like this they look, like marbles of different color, but they're self-illuminated, because they're in a way also beyond this emptiness or the void. Now this is getting a little bit hairy, so I will need to rewind myself here a little bit. Let's not jump all the way into the spheres. We're talking about the layers of the cake, mastering the layers of the cake that are you, coming to the mastery of your complete bubble. Now, the mastery of complete bubble, let me share a fun experience for you. I've set with the emptiness, and my experience would be that also then my body would dissolve. What is here, that would dissipate. And then maybe there will be a different layer of reality that you can kind of see, like the chakra system or the universal, these spheres or the other chakras. But this would be then just different layers that are all superimposed, and through the emptiness you can kind of change the vibration, you can change the channel of what you're looking at, which is fine. But even to the point where I would experience collapse of the space itself into non-space, where there would be just one thing left, which is this thing that feels like me inside of you and me and every other me. And the camera, there's no space. So explaining all the layers of reality and that are even above your personal bubble is fascinating to me and interesting, and even I am not able to integrate some of these frequency bandwidths of reality that I've experienced. Some of them are just hilarious and fun. Most of them, they're closer to singularity, to source. They are like really hilarious. And it's like no purpose for me to talk about these things here, because it's more just like a 3P fun experience. And it's also very interesting that it's the architecture of reality. But the point that I want to make for you, and why I'm saying what has happened to me, like this would dissipate, my timeline would dissipate, my body would dissipate, and what would be left is the vacuum, and consciousness observing the vacuum in the same way that I'm observing this, but without this stuff and the stuff around me. This you cannot attain if you don't go through every single level and endure also your physicality, your emotionality, your mind, subconscious mind, programming, instincts. And sometimes when we sit and meditate, there is this process, yeah. Like you sit and you feel your subconscious pull and urge and drive. And it's like, oh, I should check the clock, right? So your puppet is being animated by all this energetic memory, so-called karma, your programming, and the purpose of your programs is to move your body into action. So they're kind of they're creating your ego construct, and your ego construct wants to express everything. So if you want to go into samadhi or nirvana or complete emptiness, or other states that you can access through this emptiness, then it's it's a counter force. Oh, what about that email? And then your subconscious goes, oh, in the past life, I've experienced torture. So you're sitting with all of this, accessing even deeper and deeper and deeper layers of the causality of your subconscious programming or karma. And you know what? Going to Vipassana or something for like 10 days can be fucking awful, to be honest. Until you get it right and you fall into this like deeper state of like deeper opening. But then still you're kind of sitting, you're observing your makeup, your all of these na. Now why am I saying this? Because there's an inverse way to do meditation. There's a way where you connect into the place of no space. Even before the vacuum, there is the 0 point. And when you fall into that dot from which you emanate your awareness into your sphere, you can find yourself in Nirvana, and that takes about a minute, and anybody can do it. And I have been taking clients into, and immediately it's like shooting heroin to your body, I guess, because I never shot actual heroin, but I saw people on the movie do it, and it's like your body goes in a state of supreme relaxation. Now people access the void or additional layers of reality through BUFO, which is 5-MeO-DMT, and it kicks you out, which is beneficial if you need to experience that. I'm just saying it's not necessary, because you can experience it without the licking the frog. This is licking a polar bear. So try it out. There are videos called 0 Point on my YouTube channel, so you can look for that. I also have a course available that you can also access through my link tree, which usually there should be a link here for that. Also, you can reach out if you want to go through your patterning, your programming, your karma, if you want to transform and alchemize that, and if you want to go into 0 Point experience that with me guiding you, it's hell a lot of easier also, and some of these transformations are quicker, so you can reach out for that. Also, my session booking is available in the link. Now, the benefit of going to 0 Point is obviously if you are awakened to the next layer of reality. Say you have been operating from a physical instinctual level, call it lower self, whatever. Now you're awakened to a heart level, or even sixth chakra, third eye level, or higher level, 8th chakra level, whatever, right? Now you want to defragment your operating system from before, because you're installing integrating new operating system, right? And you need to integrate. And some of the ego impulses might not be actually beneficial to you, but then the karmic puppet goes and wants to do all of this, and the subconscious programming makes your body want to move in all these directions, so you have to sit and endure and twiddle your thumbs and endure all of this pull, but it's kind of going pushing and pulling, because now the animation wants to get you into the ego, let's do this, and you're no, let's stay here, and it's push and pull. So that's not a very good way to meditate, right? I mean, it feels like is there a smarter way? Yeah, if you go to 0 Point and you find Nirvana, a place of supreme detachment and relaxation, then okay, all of this just, and somebody who is holding 0 Point or whatever higher stage of awareness that includes this emptiness, if you are also coming to them as a teacher, if you're surrendering humility and somebody holds it, they can just also wash your karma, because it's all energetic memory that you're using as an operating system, so you're stuck in that perspective and you're identified, immersed in that operating system. This is how you work as a spaceship, as an avatar. Now, when you don't need that, it can be whoosh. And the thing is, so I'm going to tell you a few things from my experience that are really interesting. First of all, when I was accessing levels of organization or bandwidth of consciousness with higher organization, and I was integrating these things, I was using my intellect too much rather than my innermost self like intuitive, like gnosis or inner knowing. And my intellect wasn't even adapt to actually have the lingo capacity to transmit this inner knowing. So I was getting a lot of information from the innermost self, and then from the higher self, and then from the subconscious, and then it was a chaos. And sometimes I would actually create this disservice to myself because I would like create a wrong assumption intellectually and then overanalyze that and create a whole narrative. And then I would find myself confused and in chaos. And then one time I said, look, well, this is all confusing. Let me get a teacher. Let me get somebody like an actual life shows up with somebody, and you can become humble disciple. And then a man came into my life with more cycles of evolution in this lifetime, so they were like able to transmit the innermost self in a fuller way, and simply all of my mental confusion just dissipated. I was like liberating instantly. Now, another funny thing, kind of interesting funny thing, is I mastered my bubble so I could dissolve my reality and harmonize all the layers of the cake in my bubble, disappear, appear, all this stuff. Just happened to me as not a superpower that you're attaining from your intellect, but you're going and surrendering into your innermost self, and this is just then the revelation of your true nature. Okay, so not a superpower. To the ego sounds like siddhi, which translates to us like a power. It's not a power, it's a revelation of nature that you get not by intending to power, but surrendering from attaining anything, and then ironically, inversely, you get the revelation of this nature. And on this nature, you create everything from imagination, because you stir up the void, you stir up the quantum, and you project that as a timeline. This where intersection with Neville Goddard, like, you imagine the I am imagined, and that becomes. So it's a more effortless way of, doing things, because now you connect your emptiness that is everything, or the baseline of everything that appears. And it's all quantum entangled, so even if I'm in this bubble, and you're in that bubble, and she's in that bubble, like I can tap into any personal bubble. Okay, because now all of the individuals I can tap into. Vibrational makeup and looming of every other individual. They don't have to be here. You think about them, and you, on a quantum level, you wear their clothing, you wear their body, you wear their intellect. Now you are all of it. So I merge with, from this point of awareness, from my bubble, I jumped bubbles. I merged with Ramana Maharishi, who is like a prominent Advaita teacher. I'm like, what? Now I'm like in a past life, I was thinking. And then I realized, okay, no, it's like, it's all parallel lives of you, or I am, or, this singular self, but they're just dispersed all over the place, all over everywhere. Everybody that you see is a parallel version of you, another bubble. So through the void, you access that. And now some lifetimes that we call past lives or future lives or whatever are more connected to your point of view, to your perspective, or your current investigation. So you might then resonate with a group of souls, whether they're your friends or family or teacher, spiritual teacher, or whatever, right? Or some interplanetary other souls on a different planet or whatever you're resonating with. Now, if I'm interested in business architecture, wherever I start to resonate with people that talk about business architecture. If I'm resonating with art, making art, and start to, but then you can also, on a quantum level, you can kind of experience yourself as, I don't know, Picasso or Salvador Dali or whatever, in their mood, in their playful mood of like creating or whatever, or in their mood of contemplation. Because in this 0 point, in this vacuum, all of these bubbles, they're kind of distributed here in space-time, and they're all over here in the past and in the future and here in front of your house. All of these bubbles, all of these individualities, they're non-local. Time-space is relative. You are in the eternal now, what Eckhart Tolle says, eternal now moment, yes? And from there, the experience of time and space is projected and constructed and elaborated and then experienced on this density level. And it's very interesting, and you can lick polar bears and touch yourself in a sexy way. Yeah. Okay, so funny. So I thought, wow, like I gained this mastery and like I can like turn the reality on and off, so it's pretty cool, and I can now shift channels of reality, like quantum shuffle the timeline and whatnot. But then the game wasn't over. The game just started to be like even more challenging on the next level, because I didn't know about exchanging, co-creating timelines. What is objective reality that you create when you're in your own timeline, nobody can see you, or you evaporate to other people, become invisible, but you project a timeline which is objective to you, but then other people don't see that. Now it all started to be like messy. But then when I would meet people and have some anchor point, but not a complete merging or kind of like coming together in a santang, in a environment of where we all are one consciousness with a few bubbles reflecting to each other something, then the reality start to get flimsy, and I didn't know how to correspond. Learning still in the game of life, even though I mastered my bubble, I didn't know how to selectively correspond with other bubbles and objective timelines. And then I got weirded out by many of projections from other people and their experience reality, subjective or objective, now that's becoming very complex, because you can be in the same room experiencing different timelines. But when I was being pulled in other people's timelines, sometimes, often, my relationship or my experience got really sucky and traumatized. And then I had this huge period where I had to integrate another chaos that was in my emotional and like mental body and physical body, just like I couldn't put myself back together into this. So mastery of yourself is a level of mastery. It's called like ascending mastery in the game of life, but it's still not a complete mastery of the game, because now the game gets more complicated. You get all kind of like levels, right? And little tiny shades of gray and nuances and whatnot is just like hard to observe. And so it's just like learning to walk and stumble and fall, and then you get on, like you're 3 years old and you're running everywhere, and then you're 5 and you're running everywhere, and then, oh my god, you feel more stable. So this my, truth be told, it's like, okay, what I got into this practice, and then I made it, and then there was just a reference point, a new like a new checkpoint or a new level that you unlocked. But from that level, now how to operate with like all these other complexities. And sometimes I give myself all in and just go into things because I want to experience and learn. And then later I found out this was not beneficial. This was highly traumatizing for Puppy, the kitty. The kitty got highly traumatized by this. I don't want to go out anymore. I want to see people. Fuck people. So there we go. So now I was going back into emptiness by myself. because it's the one place where you can transmute chaos is in the womb, where everything ashes to ashes, dust to dust. You can like sit and allow all of the energetics to process. Now, the organization of your DNA templates, or your holographic projection, and your like health and everything, if you just rest, it's auto-organizing system. So you don't have to worry about chaos entropy. It works together with symmetry and structure. They work together. Entropy relieves you of what is not needed to you anymore. It dissolves into void. If you relax into void, then your ego is not going to be pulling you into all kind of actions which may be fragmented or misaligned. So you sit and you be like, hey, I don't really exist. I'm this indestructible consciousness, and like this all is a fairy tale construct. If it gets wrinkled up, well, we need to relax. And then it gets, oh, look at this, all these like patterns got symmetrical organization. So that's a message that I intended to help somebody with. I hope maybe even, who knows, even maybe a lot of you guys. Yeah. Have fun. Even with like operating system updates, ego deaths, remember it's a weird, trippy experience. Remember that.